Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the Unsheltered Point-in-Time Count training. My name is Bree Phillips, and I am the COC Systems Coordinator at CARES of New York, where I work with the Systems and Strategic Planning Committees. Having previously worked as a Street Outreach Program Manager, I've spent several years out in the community leading the efforts of point-in-time counts, and I look forward to supporting all of you as we prepare for this year's. For today's training agenda, we will review the Housing and Inventory Chart / Point-in-Time Count Basics, the charge from HUD, HIC versus PIT, sheltered versus unsheltered count, confirmation of the point-in-time count date, review methodology forms for unsheltered point-in-time count lead completion, discuss and edit the 2023 survey and observation tools, and discuss and confirm the recommended changes, as well as review the 2023 Unsheltered PIT timeline and next steps. We have already covered most of this in our agenda today, but here are a few of the goals we have for today's training. Reviewing the Housing and Inventory Chart and Point-in-Time Count Basics, discussing the Unsheltered Point-in-Time Count methodologies and best practices, reviewing and editing the survey and observation tools, confirming the Unsheltered Point-in-Time Count leads and dates, as well as confirming the 2023 Unsheltered Point-in-Time Count timeline. Under Section 578.7 of the COC Program Interim Rule, COCs must plan and conduct a point-in-time count of homeless persons within your geographic area. Section 578.3 of the COC Program Interim Rule states that the point-in-time counts are carried out on one night in the last 10 calendar days of January, or at such other time as required by HUD. HUD has historically, through notices of funding opportunity, required COCs to conduct an annual housing inventory chart and point-in-time count to receive maximum points in the annual COC program competition and anticipates continuing this practice for the indefinite future. The Housing Inventory Chart and Point-in-Time Count data will continue to provide critical updates on national and local progress towards preventing and ending homelessness. Next, we will review the Housing Inventory Chart versus Point-in-Time Count Basics. In the past, we have had questions about the timing of the point-in-time count. This graphic from HUD's notice describes a bit more when you can conduct the point-in-time count, ensuring that you are pointing back to one single night. The Housing Inventory Chart versus the Point-in-Time Count. The Housing Inventory Chart is an inventory of all dedicated homeless beds. This includes emergency shelter, transitional housing, safe haven, permanent supportive housing, and rapid rehousing beds. It is conducted in the last 10 days in January, on the same day as the point-in-time count, and the purpose is to inform the homeless assistance community on unit and bed capacity. The point-in-time count is a count of everyone experiencing homelessness on one single night. It includes sheltered and unsheltered. It is conducted in the last 10 days in January, and the purpose is to provide the homeless assistance community with data needed to understand the number and characteristics of persons who are homeless at one point in time. The sheltered versus unsheltered point-in-time count. For the sheltered point-in-time count, this is a count of all persons in emergency shelter, hotel or motel paid for by the Department of Social Services or a not-for-profit, transitional housing, or safe haven on the night of the count. It is conducted in the last 10 days in January and is led by CARES. The unsheltered point-in-time count is a count of all persons residing in a place not meant for human habitation on the night of the count. It is conducted in the last 10 days in January and is led by the COC Unsheltered Point-in-Time Count leads. Be sure not to include any of the following people in your unsheltered point-in-time count. This includes individuals in emergency shelter, individuals temporarily staying with friends and family, individuals in hotels or motels paid for by the Department of Social Services or self-pay, individuals residing in institutions, and individuals residing in permanent supportive housing or rapid rehousing projects. It is important to note that some of these individuals will be captured in your sheltered point-in-time count. Here are best practices that have been reported to us by service providers who have completed the count in prior years. 1. Reach out to your local law enforcement and community agencies before the date of the Unsheltered point-in-time count. 2. Consider wearing agency t-shirts or lanyards to identify as a group and bring marketing materials or basic necessity items for referrals. 3. It is safest to walk around in pairs, but before approaching a community member, pick who will lead the conversation and who will be the support. 4. If a member of the community is not interested in completing the survey, ask if they are aware of any other locations that may have not been identified, as many of them are experts in their community as well. We recommend these HUD infectious disease safety guidelines as it applies to your community. Provide personal protective equipment, PPE, for volunteers. Design volunteer processes and trainings that minimize close contact, and provide volunteers a variety of service opportunities such as data entry. Here we have our unsheltered point-in-time count leads listed for our communities. For Albany, we have Joseph's House and Shelter, Schenectady, Bethesda House, Rensselaer, Joseph's House and Shelter, Columbia Green, the Mental Health Association of Columbia and Greene Counties, and Columbia Opportunities, Franklin and Essex, the Franklin County Community Housing Council, Points North, Jefferson County Department of Social Services, Saratoga North Country, we have Captain and Waite House, Dutchess, it's the Dutchess County Planning Department, Rockland, the Department of Social Services, Helping Hands, and Village of Haverstraw, and in Ulster, we have People USA and REPCO. Here is a list of our confirmed point-in-time count dates listed by community. Next, we will review the methodology forms. As usual, we are asking you to fill out 3 methodology forms, and the purpose of these are to share how you overall are conducting the unsheltered point-in-time count in terms of stakeholders you are engaging, locations you are reaching out to, as well as how you are doing that specifically with veterans and youth. The purpose of this is that we will need to speak to this information when we submit the point-in-time count to HUD, and it will also be used to submit the COC applications. If you have any further questions, please let us know. Otherwise, we would like them returned to us by January 11th. Lastly, we will review the point-in-time count timeline. On December 7th, the collaborative applicant will hold a meeting with the unsheltered PIT leads to discuss the point-in-time count date and methodology forms. On December 16th, an email will be sent to COC memberships confirming January 26, 2023 as the date for the point-in-time count or alternative date selected by your community. On January 11th, the point-in-time count lead will return methodology forms to the collaborative applicant. On January 18th, the collaborative applicant will touch base with leads to review methodology and hotspot locations for the count. On January 19th, the collaborative applicant will send an email to COC memberships as a reminder that they are 1 week until the point-in-time count. On January 25th, the collaborative applicant will send an email to COC memberships as a reminder that tomorrow, January 26th, is the point-in-time count. On February 10th, service providers will send their data collection forms to the COC PIT leads. And on February 17th, the COC PIT leads will send aggregated data to the collaborative applicant. In March of 2023, there will be an unsheltered PIT lead debriefing, and in April of 2023, there will be a data memo available for the community to review. Additional tasks include, in late December and early January, unsheltered point-in-time count leads will begin recruiting and training point-in-time count volunteers and program staff.